Hello everybody, Plato here, and I hope you're all excited and ready for that Worldslayer launch happening on June 30th. On this video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the new Ascension point system. If you're familiar with Diablo 3, this is basically like their Paragon point system, a new mechanic introduced in Worldslayer that will let us become more powerful through passive bonuses. Ascension points are gained by leveling up our new Ascension level bar, as you can see here. Experience for this bar is gained similarly to how we gain our level experience or world tier progress now, just by wrecking enemies and advancing through the story and endgame activities, which will now include replaying story content. If you missed it during the broadcast, world tiers and challenge tiers have now been replaced with apocalypse tiers that'll scale up to level 40 and will now include the story as well as the expeditions. According to the broadcast, Ascension is going to take hundreds of hours to gain all the possible levels, something we'll be passively grinding in the background while doing other endgame activities like the Trial of Tarya Qatar, which they teased during the broadcast. Whether our Ascension levels are going to be per character or per account is something we don't know for sure yet, so we'll have to wait for more details. My guess is going to be for per character, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. Each Ascension point is going to provide us with 1 point to spend. Experience required for these Ascension points will increase with each level. We will have a maximum of 200 points to spend. Anomaly is self-explanatory, Brutality is more tailored towards our weapons, Endurance is our defensive and survivability option, and Prowess is a mixed bag. We can see that each branch starts at 0 out of 50 points and has 5 possible nodes to choose from. Advanced geometry and complex quantum physics tells us that we'll be able to spend 50 of our 200 points in each branch. If we were paying close attention to the Worldslayer broadcast and the promotional video, we noticed that the cooldown node had 10 points and appeared to be grayed out, so it's very likely to assume that the points are going to be capped at 10 per node. Personally, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I can see them doing it from a balancing perspective, but I would have loved to have the opportunity to mix and match any of my 50 points per box to any one of the nodes. If I wanted to just dump 50 points into one of these nodes, let me dump 50 points into one of those nodes. What could possibly go wrong? The majority of these points are pretty self-explanatory in what they do, so we'll quickly go over most of them and make note of some of the more interesting ones. Let's go ahead and focus on our first branch, the Anomaly branch, with the first node, Anomaly Power. The first point in this node will increase our anomaly power by 2.4%. Now a quick note here, and this is going to be true for every node we're going to be taking a look at. Each node is going to have diminishing returns, which means the more points you spend on one node, the less it's going to give you in terms of value. Take a look at this example here. At level 1, our weapon damage is going to be 2.4%. At level 2, it's going to go ahead and jump to 4.2%, a 1.8% increase. Then from level 2 to 3, it's going to go from 4.2% to 5.6%, a 1.4% increase. For level 4, it's going to go from 5.6% to 7%, a 1.4% increase. And for level 5, it's going to go from 7.0 to 7.9%, a 0.9% increase. Now we weren't able to pick up enough points in the playtest to be able to tell exactly what impact this will have. Maybe there's a floor to how low the gain will be, but there will probably come a point where even though a bonus may be really good for us, we're going to get a lot more bang for our buck by allocating that point somewhere else. This is of course until you farm your life away to get all those 200 points, and at that point, it doesn't matter. One last note I did want to make is we're not sure how exactly these bonuses are going to scale with our current stats. Will they be in their own multiplier class, or will they scale additively with things like our class tree nodes and attributes, etc.? We'll just have to wait and see until we get more time to test it and find out. Now the second node on the Anomaly branch is going to be Resistance Pierce. Moving forward, if I don't have any additional comments to add on a certain node, I'm just going to go ahead and name it and then move on. Node number 3 is Skill Leech. Here's an example of not all bonuses being the same. Now all of these Ascension nodes will have either 1.2% or 2.4% for level 1, except for the one outlier, which is increased magazine size, which we'll get to at the end. The second to last node on the Anomaly branch is going to be Status Power, and remember, Status Power does increase your phaser damage. And for our last node, we have Anomaly Damage. Quick note here, this is Anomaly Damage, not to be confused with Anomaly Power, which we looked at in the beginning. Anomaly Damage will also affect our weapon mods, which Anomaly Power does not, and this is a nice note since we don't get many bonuses of this type in the game. Moving to our Endurance branch, the first note is going to be Health. Nothing special here. The more points you add, the more max health you will receive. For node number 2 in the Endurance tree, we have Armor. Moving on to node number 3, we have Healing Received. Our second to last node is going to be Elite Damage Mitigation. This one is something new to a lot of builds, as there are a few class tree nodes that actually give this type of bonus, but not many current builds pick them up. Now to refresh everybody's memory, remember Alpha Preferos also count as elites, so this will be extremely helpful to deal with them, as well as Broodmothers, Moloch, etc. And for our last node in the Endurance branch, we have Resistance. This is really nice to help mitigate that anomaly damage, and something not a lot of builds currently have much access to, so pretty darn nice node here. Moving down to the Brutality branch, we have our first node in Armor Pierce. The more points you put in here, the more armor piercing you're going to receive. The second node in the Brutality Branch is going to be close range damage. If you guys forgot, close range damage by base is going to be 10 meters, which is going to be the first ring you see on your minimap. Our third node is going to be long range damage, which is going to be 18 meters at base. If you look at your minimap, this is going to be just under the second ring. For the fourth node, now that's a tongue twister, we have weapon damage. And to finish us off on the Brutality Branch, we have Weapon Leech. Lastly, the final branch we're going to be taking a look at is the Prowess Branch with the first node in cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is always nice to have, especially for skill-based builds, but works great for firepower builds as well. The second node is going to be critical chance, something we don't also often see in Outriders. Maybe you can go ahead and combine this with the T1 weapon mod critical point to get more value. Maybe. I'm not sold on this one just yet. For node number 3 in the Prowess Branch, we have critical damage. Node number 4 is going to be damage against elites, which is always nice. Extra elite damage is always something you should be looking forward to, and the fact that we get it for pretty much free here is always a great bonus. And last but definitely not least in the Prowess Branch is going to be magazine size. And this is the outlier I was talking about earlier. This is the only node that has a 6.2% value at start, which makes sense for magazine size. Maybe this will go up to anywhere between 25 to 50% at level 10. Who knows? We'll find out soon enough. Those are going to be the possibilities of how we can go ahead and spend up to our 200 Ascension points. Now we'll know much more about how these values are going to add to our builds once the smart people are able to break down the numbers and see how they're interacting with our stats. I'm also going to go ahead and take a look at providing you guys some sort of a soft cap spreadsheet, so during our leveling up process we can get the best bang for buck and not overspend on certain nodes because of the diminishing returns. Ascension points are able to be freely reset similar to our current class trees, so experiment a way to find the right combinations as you gain points that work for you and your build. You're also able to reset your Ascension points on a per branch basis, which is really nice. That's currently all we know about the Ascension levels and points at this time. Keep in mind, anything you see here can be subject to change prior to release. Let me know what you think about this new method of advancing our characters. Do you think it's just going to be a small nice to have bonus or a game changer for your build? If you guys want to see more of my Outriders content, check out the links in the description below, as well as the videos popping up on the brand new pack trees for each class. I'll also have links to all the other Outriders Worldslayer video in the description down below, including the full playtest gameplay I have that includes all the cutscenes, so make sure to check that out too. And as always guys, until the next one, peace.